Kelly and I were very fortunate in the beginning of our relationship to travel extensively and long into a lot of amazing countries. Not limited to Australia, Indonesia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam. We spent our last couple months in India. Let's see, what did you perhaps learn from traveling with your girlfriend in such close quarters for a long time? What was your favorite place? Tell us about it.
Oh man. Well, our entire trip, so how many months do we date before I left?
3. And then we had a
3
long
months
distance relationship for 6
for
months.
6 months. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I mean, 3 months of knowing somebody, and then talking to them for 6 months, but not,
Seeing them.
hanging out and seeing them in a normal relationship environment.
Right.
I'm always super honest with you. So and it was funny to say, but well, I kept saying the whole trip was a trial. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah. You said I was on trial up until like last week, I'm pretty sure. My trial just like got re-upped again. Oh, it was on our 4-year anniversary. You took me off trial.
Yeah,
and then I'm pretty sure by later that day, you put me back on trial. Something I ate or something. He's like, I don't know. You might be back on trial.
But, our traveling together, even you can admit it
it
sort of
was
was a trial. Like,
there were times I thought.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, what's fair is fair. You already offed me once in this podcast. You try to break up with me, so
that's fair. That's
now we're even.
This is what happens when
we're even.
You have your boyfriend on the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't. So it was. I didn't really know what to expect, and I had never really traveled.
Right.
I had went to Ireland once, and to St. John, laying on a beach, but
right.
We were I was.
We were
I was
doing
leaving that we were doing some shit,
backpacking,
and
for real shit.
To give people context too, we were doing this on the as cheap as possible, like especially towards the end, like when we were in India, we were living. So like certain lower income countries, they all the places we went, Southeast Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, India. People always say, you can live like a king out there. It's everything's so much cheaper.
Right.
And it absolutely is so much cheaper.
For sure.
And they're right. But we were so broke, but we just didn't care.
Yeah.
Like we were living.
We lived like a local lived.
We were living. No. We were living much cheaper than it. When I was in India, I was living way cheaper than a local Indian.
Yeah.
I was living on. Basically not including rent for like our nightly. How much was I paying for rent at the ashram?
Ashram? I don't know. You have receipts of when I think you seriously spent like 1,200 rupees for like a week.
No, it was more than that, but
I don't remember. It's been a while now.
So 60 rupee is $1. And food,
or it was when we were there.
Cost wise, like what I was like spending money wise, I was absolutely living on $1 a day.
Oh,
I was spending 60 rupees. I'd get a 10 rupee banana from the banana dude.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe two bananas for 10 rupee.
Right.
I go down to the little corner shop and get some cookies. They had delicious
such
cookies.
Good cookies.
Cookies and crackers I get for I bet 10, maybe another 10.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 packs of 5. So basically there I'm at what, 20 rupee. So that's about 30 cents I've spent on a couple bananas and some cookies and crackers. And then I spend the bulk of it on honey and peanut butter.
Yep. You're big. And coke. Oh, excuse me. I think coconut oil. You were doing a lot of coconut oil at that time too.
Oh yeah, I was getting into coconut oil, so I was, taking sips of that throughout the day, and
That's
then
actually really
basically
good.
peanut butter and banana.
We need to bring that back. We should both be eating like a tablespoon of coconut oil a day or something like that. And oil pulling.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the pulling.
And pulling that shit through your teeth
Yeah,
and
improve your
cleaning your
teeth.
motherfucking mouth up.
But
Get
basically, yeah, I was living way cheaper than people in India. Like people in India were going out to their restaurants and getting a sandwich for 260 rupee. They were getting buying things for 100 rupee,
for sure.
500
No,
rupee.
I think it
I
is.
I was 60 rupee a day.
I think a lot of people do misjudge. And like, I remember when I was on that trip again and people would reach out and they're like, when are you going to be home? And I was like, I'll be home by summer. And like, I'm saying this in December. And they're like, the fuck do you mean you'll be home by summer? Like, what? You've already been like midway through, like, you've been gone for months. I'm like, I'll be home in 4 months. And they're like, what's going on? But like, it is important to know and tell people like, yeah, we weren't living large. It wasn't easy breezy, and it wasn't even, yeah, sure, it was a vacation and it was remarkable because other than quarantine and COVID, there's not too many times in life that you don't work for a month or months on end. And like, I remember how refreshing that was initially when I got to Australia. And like, for the first few weeks, like waking up and like each day, like, sort of remembering where you are, like you're halfway around the world or you're the furthest point from home you can be. And you're like, oh my God, I'm like, I don't have a job and I'm not going to work and I'm not going to work any fucking time soon. So in that regard, it was really freeing and refreshing. But also, like you were using your brain in different to go over different problems. Like we moved every 3 days. Where are we going? How are we getting from point A to point B? What bus to what train to what plane
Oh
to
my
like
god.
what's gonna
Reading
get us?
reviews of
So
Airbnbs and
so
having
yeah,
disaster Airbnbs.
and living on a very tight budget so that we could afford to stay as long as we wanted away and continue to explore the world as we did. But it was not by any means, uh, a 5-star resort. We're fucking making our way around the
No,
world,
no.
fabulous time,
And
which we hope to one day. And
oh
having
yeah.
since been home from our trip, and then the following year we went to my best friend's wedding. I was her bridesmaid in Greece, and we spent 3 weeks in Greece, which was one of the most extraordinary trips of our lives. I think we both agree. I look forward to many more trips like that and European trips and a bit more first world countries because I have had some digestive issues ever since our trip to India that I haven't quite found my way out of yet. So I do look forward to some European travels in my near future. Hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
so
Just real quick though, like just to give people, like, we were doing it on the cheap. Um Traveling after I did it to that extent, to me is just I realized how attainable it is, you know?
oh, for sure.
Well, first of all, I had a sense of like when I got back, I'm like,
I could do
if I
anything.
can just, yeah, I really felt that. I really felt I could do anything.
Right.
And that's translated in other parts of my life that's been like extremely liberating.
Yeah.
Because like we decided to do it. We did it, and it was way cheaper than you'd think. It's way
Mhm.
more attainable.
Mhm.
Like in if you asked me before I was looking at flights to these places, how much it would cost, I had no idea so much that I would probably say like, how much is it to fly to Australia? I probably would have guessed like because I didn't know. I would have said maybe like I don't know, like 3,000, maybe like 5,000. It's
Mm.
so far away.
Yep.
Um, it's literally in the other side of the world. I would have said, maybe $3 or $5,000, $800 to get to Australia.
Right. I paid a
Um,
bit more than you, but no, and I
yeah,
think that quite honestly, flights are generally, depending upon where you're going, the absolute most expensive part of your travel. So my recommendation is always if you can afford the flight to said destination far from where you live, um, stay as long as you possibly can stay once you get there, because usually
Exactly.
to a place like India, it's going to be a whole lot to get you there and back. That's the bulk of what you're spending. Where you stay is going to be minimal, the things you eat are minimal, so you'll be able to afford a longer stay once you're there. But yeah, the biggest out of pocket expense is going to be your flight. But travel is so much more accessible than I think a lot of people imagine it to be. And I think it's really important to share that message with people, because traveling has expanded my life and my world immensely. And I think, yes, it can be costly, but I think that we shouldn't have it on such a pedestal as we do. And if you're in the mindset right now of like, I can't travel, I'll never be able to afford to travel, try to break yourself out of that, because you can, by even just saving like a measly amount per day, per week, whatever it is that you could possibly throw into a jar. And I was literally saving money in a box in my closet, just so like it was there and I wasn't spending it. It wasn't even in my bank account with the rest of my money. But it is tangible, and you can make it happen, and it's not as expensive as you think it is. And there are accommodations at every level, especially with the creation of Airbnb, which is what we did a lot of on our trip. And it's so much less expensive than so many hotels. Like, I think if we had tried to do that in the day and age of hotels and just hostels, and of course we stayed in hostels along the way, but if it were just hotels, and we wouldn't have been able to afford
Yeah.
to
No,
stay
it's
as
true.
long as we did.
And I mean, just it's given the coronavirus, it's not the best time to talk about travel advice or whatever. But
True.
for some actual like things that you can, whoever's listening or watching this, some actionable things. I hadn't known about a website called Skyscanner.
Mhm. Great site.
Skyscanner.com is
Great
the
site.
best, and I'll
Did I
explain
teach you about
why.
Skyscanner?
Probably,
I think I
probably.
taught you about Skyscanner.
And here's why it's so good is because you can go into Skyscanner, you can choose a normal website will say, all right, where are you flying out of, where are you flying into? You
Mhm.
put it in, like whatever normal flight website. But Skyscanner allows you to put in where you're flying out of. So I would choose Logan Airport in Boston, and then as far as you choosing where you're going, you can actually choose anywhere. So and then what it does is you click, oh, and for when you're flying, you can click whenever's cheapest. So you can click from Logan Airport going to wherever's cheapest. When is whenever's cheapest. So you click it and you just look at the results. So there's, you click the button, it says, oh, well, actually, if you want to go to Iceland, Iceland from Boston, round trip, you know, 2 months and 3 days from now on this exact flight is X amount of dollars.
Right.
And like, so they're finding you the cheapest place to go to and the cheapest time to get there. And
Friends, could
when
I
you
could
add
I
that,
pause you? Could I pause you for one moment? In case you haven't noticed, I keep looking off screen because our cat, hold on one moment. Our cat is, oh, he's found his way out the door on his own, actually. He was trying to get out the door. He got up from his nap. He's done with the fucking podcast. He's done with listening to his mother speak now, but he's found his way out the
oh,
door
that's funny.
himself. I was going to scoop him up real quick to show him to the people of the YouTubes, but he has since left the room. So my apologies upon the
Oh,
interruption.
no, no worries, no worries. So yeah, basically when you add in it finding whatever location is the cheapest and what time to travel to that location is the cheapest,
Yep.
like you get flights that are like I remember one time I looked up it was like Boston to Iceland, which isn't the farthest thing, but it's still,
Right.
I
It's
heard
still an
Iceland's amazing.
international travel to an extraordinary
For
country.
sure. We're talking round trip for like $250.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's $250 is
Even
crazy.
even our trip to Greece, like we went to Greece for a solid 3 weeks, I think maybe a little over 3 weeks.
Yep.
Um, and I want to say our flights were around $600 round trip. Um, But how much did we spend while we were there? And this is Greece, like an extraordinary travel destination, an otherworldly travel destination that should be on everyone's list if it isn't. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in the world. And we didn't spend much money there. Even travel in Greece was quite accessible, and
No, yeah. The Airbnbs were what, like 30 bucks?
$35 or something a
$35 a
night.
night
And to
on these
stay at like
beautiful islands,
nice
like
to stay
yeah.
at nice places. Like we were not roughing it the way we were on our long backpacking trip. We were
No,
staying
yeah.
in really, really nice, very comfortable places
Yeah, but yeah, we're saying at the same time, we're saying really nice places,
for
$35.
$35.
So we're not saying like we were living all fancy and
Can you imagine if you actually
yeah,
paid
exactly.
like in the United States, you're gonna spend $120 on the shittiest motherfucking hotel motel. For Christmas, we tried to stay in a motel in your beside your family's house.
Yeah, yeah.
What was it? 130,
Yeah.
$140 for
It
a
was the cheapest.
fucking terrible motel in Pennsylvania, like a shit ass motel.
Yeah. Well, it could be around Christmas too, but yeah,
That
sure.
could have been.
That
But
much though, yeah.
truly, in the United States, if you're staying at a hotel, because we stayed at hotels in Greece, you don't pay under $110. There's like not a chance you're getting a hotel for $110 or less. Am
No,
I
it's
right?
crazy.
Am I
Yeah.
losing my mind here? So no, I mean, if we actually spent like American money, like yo, we both like $100 was 3 times what we were spending. We would have been like lavish laps of luxury. So anyway, we've been very lucky to travel an extensive amount together. Where is your post-COVID quarantine next desired destination? It
Ooh.
can
Dizzy money.